Good evening, ladies and Chase. Tonight we are going to talk about culturally responsive teaching, as well as a few strategies that can help you as future teachers. Before defining and exploring strategies for implementing culturally responsive teaching in the classroom, it is important to remember and emphasize that above all else, students are complex little individuals who cannot be defined only by their skin color, background, or socioeconomic status. That being said, according to Bronfenbrenner, a student's home life and native culture create a complex and interweaving web of influences that shape and provide a context for a student's learning. Culturally responsive teaching combines excellent educational practice with an increased awareness of these external factors. While many people think that 21st century education is defined by increased use of technology, it can just as easily be defined as increasing diversity. According to the National Center of Education Statistics, between the fall of 2003 and the fall of 2013, the number of white students enrolled in public elementary and secondary schools decreased from 28.4 million to 25.2 million, and the percentage who were white decreased from 59 to 50%. In contrast, the number of Hispanic students enrolled increased from 9 million to 12.5 million, and the percentage of those who were Hispanic increased from 19 to 25%. With increasing diversity comes increased emphasis on a problem known as the achievement gap, which is a disparity in academic performance among different student groups, primarily based on race and socioeconomic standing. While many efforts have been made to close the achievement gap, there is still a lot of work to be done. Many of these efforts are large-scale, federal and state initiatives. However, the most important factor in a student's education that can be controlled by the schools is the quality and the makeup of the teacher in the room. Culturally responsive teaching is an idea that may help individual teachers better reach their increasingly ethnically diverse students and help to close the achievement gap in their own classroom. Geneva Gay defines culturally responsive teaching as using the cultural knowledge, prior experiences, frames of references, and performance styles of ethnically diverse students to make learning encounters more appropriate and effective for them. It teaches to and through the strengths of these students. In layman's terms, culturally responsive teaching encourages teachers to approach lesson planning and instruction through the eyes of their students' culture, communities, families, and languages. In this image from the EdCollab gathering, you can see side by side the different aspects of quote-unquote old school teaching and culturally responsive teaching. Notice how culturally responsive teaching is driven more by exploring real issues, differentiating instruction, being more hands-on, and empowering students in the classroom. Ebersol breaks down CRT into 3 dimensions: relevance, community, and social justice. The first dimension, cultural relevance and pedagogy, focuses on how lessons and student-teacher interaction reflect and connect to a student's home life. Students learn more effectively when they already know something about the content area, and when concepts in that area mean something to them and their particular background or culture. The second dimension, community, emphasizes the importance of constructing a community of students that can take on a life of its own and bridge the differences between students' different cultural backgrounds by unifying students who share the same goal. The third dimension, social justice, encourages teachers to lead students to think critically about their own cultures, the cultures of others, and popular culture with an emphasis on challenging basic assumptions and stereotypes. Over the next few slides, we will review 3 general strategies aligned to each of the 3 dimensions of culturally responsive teaching. Cultural relevance. A very common teaching tool, the KWL chart, models a very effective strategy for culturally responsive teaching, specifically the K-column. The K-column asks students to write out what they already know about a topic. Culturally responsive teachers pay special attention to their students' unique prior knowledge and background. And having students share their previous understandings can help out the teacher quite a bit by giving them some common ground to work on. By emphasizing and focusing on ethnically diverse perspectives, the classroom becomes more inclusive, and learning becomes more relevant to each and every student. Building a learning community. Zaretta Hammond outlines 3 different strategies to help build a strong learning community within schools and classrooms that blend the many cultures of the students together. Hammond identifies 3 elements that are evident in almost all cultures around the world: competition, socialization, and narrative. By encouraging competition and socialization, students focus not so much on their differences, but on working together or competing against one another to reach a common goal. This eliminates many barriers that otherwise would keep students separate. Incorporating storytelling into teaching, or as Hammond says, storify it, builds a stronger context for learning to take place. Virtually all cultures are built on storytelling. It is a universal way to transmit information. Social justice education. Social justice education gives emphasis to the voices and perspectives of underrepresented or oppressed cultures and people. Simulated journaling helps students to see the world through the eyes of people from cultures other than their own. Through writing simulated journals, students become more familiar with the struggles and hardships of seemingly different people, leading students to develop a greater sense of empathy and understanding. They may even discover that many cultures are not all that different from their own. Ultimately, culturally responsive teaching is a mindset that helps each teacher reach more students in a more profound way. Love him or hate him, I would like to leave you with this quote from President Barack Obama. From the moment students enter a school, the most important factor in their success is not the color of their skin or the income of their parents. It's the person standing at the front of the classroom. It is important to remember that every student is unique, and the most important aspects of their school day is how their relationship with their teachers grow and develop.